This is Black Writers Read. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today for episode 4 of season 6 of Black Writers Read. My name is Nicole Young Martin, and I'm the founder, producer, and host of the series. Today is National Black Poetry Day. To celebrate the occasion, I'm hosting a marathon broadcast, chatting with 3 Black male poets, hoping to engage in a conversation that continues to emerge whenever I dialogue with Black men on the show. I think they are contributing something very unique to the canon, and I do hope one day to either do a special panel or a special series to continue this conversation about this particular social commentary that's emerging. It's time to introduce today's first guest, so let's get started. I've known I hope I'm not aging us, but I've known today's first guest for almost 20 years. We first met as theater students back at Wayne State University. We've stayed connected over social media, had some extremely deep conversations over social media. But in our pre-chat before coming live, he reminded me that we haven't been in the same room and really heard each other's voices in a long time. So it's so great to have him on to chat. He is I knew him as an amazing actor, educator, counselor, school administrator, and I thought that his work as a writer, specifically with poetry and social commentary, was something new in his creative suite. I learned today he's been doing this work for the past 20 some years, including a play when we were in school together. And my apologies, I wish I remembered that. So I'm even more excited to chat with him about his writing. So let's get today's conversation started. Black Writers Read celebrates, showcases, and honors the words, work, and traditions of Black writers from across the country, across genres, across experiences, and across the African diaspora. Black Writers Read is a behind-the-scenes conversation into the craft and what it means to create as a Black author in today's society. Since starting the series during the summer of 2020, we've hosted over 90 authors representing over 15 genres from 6 countries and 26 states. Our platform includes the live stream interviews, the audio podcasts, book clubs, and curriculum integration assistance. Find us online at blackwritersread.com. Today, we welcome Damon Moore. Bridging psychology and prophecy, Damon Moore crafts mythic verse that prods you into awakening. Anthems of the American Apocalypse, Volume 1, burns with themes of identity, culture, and rebirth. This very eye-opening and compelling poetry collection is available for purchase on Amazon. So a lot of the themes that you'll hear them, one of the reasons why I chose the 3 poets that we'll have on today, you'll hear the similar themes throughout all of their work. A lot about bearing witness, extreme vulnerability as Black male poets. And then lastly, they've all integrated spoken word into their practice. And I have some questions about some of the differences between spoken word and poetry, because in the industry, there are some very distinct differences. So I'm glad that we can chat about that today. For those of you who are new to Black Writers Read, here's the format. Damon will come on and read excerpts from his work, then we'll chat. For those of you who are joining us from your respective platforms, if you have a question for today's guest or a shout out or like a kudos, please put it in the comment section where you're joining us from today. If you do have a question, I will insert it at an appropriate time during our conversation. I'd now like to welcome Damon Moore to the virtual stage. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
It's so great to finally have you on.
It's good to be here. It's really exciting to talk with you. I love what you're doing. You're doing some really good work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm honored that you've welcomed me here. So thank you.
Dude, fam, when I saw that you published the book, I was like, oh my God, I need to have you on Black Writers Read.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, it's been a big feat in doing it. as you mentioned, I've been writing for a while, and it's a little bit been underground in some ways because I haven't shared a huge amount. I've shared on social media a bit here and there, but this is a culmination of many years of work that I've put together to create this first volume, and the next volume's coming out as well.
Damon, your writing has been so underground. I didn't know you were doing it. So I'm just saying.
Sometimes I have mostly done a little bit here on Facebook, I think and a little bit on Instagram as well. But I was doing a huge amount on TikTok, a lot of spoken word stuff on TikTok. However, TikTok's in a weird area now, so I'm not really engaged in actually that much on social media. I'm trying to do a little bit of a break for my brain, for my body. I'm tired. For various reasons. I deal with chronic illness, chronic fatigue, and I'm politically tired too.
Yes.
So, social media, I'm trying to slow down on it, but I get why you haven't seen me. It's been a lot on TikTok. So if you go to I am Damon Moore on TikTok, there's a wide variety of videos. You will see I used to have very long hair, but
yes.
Different now.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say this before you read. I am so sorry to bring this up, but I still have this image of you, and I know this was over almost 20 years ago. I still have this image of you from, what was it, A Christmas Carol?
Oh.
Yes. Oh my God. I'll just never, because I had to work every single show.
That was one of my favorite shows we ever did.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. It was so much fun. It was such a good experience. I got to be the ghost of Christmas present. But the funny thing is that they put me in this auburn wig that was like down to my chest and no shirt on. They wanted glitter all over my body, and then they gave me these golden genie capris and these golden slippers, and they wanted me to have glitter to throw everywhere. And I was also using this really deep voice. Merry Christmas. Oh, and it was wild. And they put me on the cover of to advertise. They put me on the cover of what was it, Between the Lines, the LGBTQ. The main guy. Why me? But yeah, that was a fun show. We did a whole lot of really good group work. The part of theater that I miss the most is actually the cohesive building, creating something together, because the thing that you're creating is always a beautiful art that you're all adding synergy into. And you come out a changed person, a deeper person in the process. So that process is the thing that I miss most about theater. But yeah, that show was one of the great shows for process for me.
And it was wild because I had to work front of house for that show. Every performance, and even the student matinee, y'all, everybody hooted and hollered when he did a trollop on stage with no shirt on. I was just like, oh my God. It was hilarious. And then the glitter, I was just like, oh my God. And I'm like,
they were mad at me for years because they told me like 6 months later, they're like, Damon, we're still finding glitter. Yeah, I found glitter on my skin for about 3 months straight.
And what's funny, you did a lot, like you were cast a lot, but that particular show, I was just like, oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, that was a great show. The ensemble shows were definitely some of the most fun for me.
Yeah. So now we're ready to hear you as a writer. So I'm going to take myself off and you have the platform. So happy reading, and I'll be back to chat.
Thank you. So I am Damon Moore, and I'm actually going to take you on a little bit of a journey. Right here is a flute, and I invite you to listen as we go a little bit deeper into my story and into yours. I've used this as a point of attention to help draw you in. I think that music is a connector, and a lot of what you'll see in my poetry is a bit lyrical, spoken word, and connective. So I hope you can connect. The first poem is What You Try to Be. Philosophically, we speak of the rationality that humanity has. It's insanity. The vanity that I see, What you trying to be when you think it's all about, when you know it's all about? Good God, it's all about me. Look outside yourself. Look around. The world is so much more profound than you ever found when you were bound by selfishness, wound in its snare, only hearing the sound of your own voice abound. Abound. You're bound. You're bound. Do you dare explore? It's rare when you stare out to the world where it could tear you apart. Some say it's not smart. Just focus on self, on wealth, on health. Just focus on self, on wealth, on health. Just focus on self, on wealth, on health. The cards you were dealt, don't. Humanity's rationality of vanity is insanity. It'll get you nowhere. Don't dare, don't care, don't share. It'll get you nowhere. The next poem we have is Dead, D-E-A-D, dying, extinguished, already destined. I woke up this morning and a chill ran through me. Nothing I saw or heard could move me. I woke to the newscast on the radio. 30,000 died in a war I never knew, in a country I never heard. Without a second thought, I flipped to the latest tune. Peace at last was its name, but it gave none. No joy, nor happiness. I was through with this. I took to the TV. All I could see on every channel was bombing, drowning, and sickness. I wanted to say I was sick of this, but I just didn't care. I woke up this morning and a chill ran through me. Nothing I saw or heard could move me. Is this what death's like? This isn't any way to live life. Desensitized, empty, apathetic. Did I die inside? Walking through city streets, I saw a mugging. I just kept walking and moved along shrugging. Next thing you know, car accident, people in the streets, lying, blood draining from the soul. I don't help. I just watch and record as it all unfolds to add to social and continue my daily infinite scroll through these apathetic city streets. I woke up this morning and a chill ran through me. Nothing I saw or heard could move me. Is this what that's like? This isn't any way to live life. Desensitized, empty, apathetic. Did I die inside? Something's got to change. I don't think this should be. Why no feeling to feel? I live in the haze. Something must change. When I don't know what is real, I need to hope, need to feel mad, sad, joy, anger, something. Let me feel something. Let me know that I'm alive. The next poem we have is Perfect Attendance. Perfect attendance is where I learned to hate myself, using my body as fuel for the system. Sickness was inaccessible, and so was time to heal, time to feel. Now when there was work to do, I was promised a home there, just the same as you, in the Valhalla of capitalism. Financial independence predicated on the assurance that school was proper insurance in case of catastrophic disasters. It was not for those premeditated by men. School, it became a prison because that's what you wanted from me. You built the building, the program, the system, the structure, the ramp for me, locked down for me to protect me, get the degree, work hard for free, 3 to 5 years. In fact, pay me to teach. Well, not me. University exorbitantly pervasive within me. The system still in my bones. Higher education for higher education. I'm tired. Where's my education? I'm tired. Their education will never be a proper education for me because the blind can't see. not because they're unable, but because they're unwilling to open their first two, let alone their third eye. So this experience is not fulfilling. They can't see me. And this education is more a lesson to varying degrees. So I take things like this present education system as a precursor of attuned presence. And I can choose that always, whether or not they ever do. Present attunement is where I learned to love myself. Honoring my body, this temple, instead of the hollowed holes of capitalism. And so came time to feel, time to heal, just the same as you. So I take things like present attunement as the attendance of perfect education, and I can choose that presence, whether or not they ever do. The next selection we have is called Civil War is Kind. There's a number of allusions I have to other pieces in the book, and this is to an allusion to one of my favorites by Stephen Crane, his poem, War is Kind. Civil war is kind. Do not weep, patriot. Civil war is kind, because your leaders threw wild arms towards the sky and the broken machine ran on alone. Do not weep. Civil war is kind. Trump plays on booming beat of the battle little psyches who plead as gods and kings. These avatars were made to rule our lives. Archetypical. Old baffling glory soars and boils within our chilled blood. Great is the capital good, and great is the fallen kingdom, the collective landscape where we go to die. Do not weep, dear aging child, for civil war is kind. Our caretakers tumbled into trenches, moving soil, moving sand, moving heart, under land. Using pieces of our inner brokenness to fill the loss of landscapes, heartscapes. Do not weep, dear one. Civil war is kind. Switched flag blazing, rebelling in rebellion as a rite of passage, connecting with false narratives of an ancient unity, country with red running through and gold rotting inside you and me too. Regime born to mint and die, strike for them the value of every 1 cent, to seize the resources within, make plain to them the casting of this play. A nation where 300 million corpses lie. Good soldiers born to work and die. Be grateful, because we wake up daily, even if it's just minutes to midnight. So do not weep, dear one. Civil war is kind. Citizen, whose heart hung humble as a hero in your own mind. Your blood has been shed on the star-spangled shroud of your own land, honoring not your death, just the bottom line. Do not weep, patriot. This cold civil war is kind. Next we have America is a ghetto. Ghetto, unseemly, inconsistent with established standards of good form or taste. Ghetto, unrefined. Ghetto, low class. Ghetto, inferior. Ghetto, low quality. Ghetto, shabby. Ghetto, crude. Ghetto, America, ghetto. America is a ghetto. America is a ghetto. We all live in aging, dilapidated cookie-cutter McMansions. America is a ghetto, and the ghetto is in me. Depression, anxiety, society displayed on every screen. I inhale it. I become it, perform it, lust it. America is a ghetto, and the culture is in me. siphoning my will, but still I bleed red, white, and blue. And hey, don't just look at me. The ghetto is also in you. America is a ghetto, and we're still running trains of waste across a pockmarked American cultural landscape. When we unmask the victim, we see your sister, the environment, my children magnetized to capitalism, where we should have levitated this animal mentality long ago. But we still haven't taken a stand. But not unless it can be voted, liked, or reacted to. You got to get your clout too. And even then, it gets just 8 seconds of presence from you until the next infinite scroll. America's a ghetto. America is a ghetto, and it's achingly pervasive within me. America's a ghetto, and it's itching in your veins too. The drug is within you, poison within you. What's a lethal dose? It doesn't matter. 50 times more. I need more. I need more and more and more. Infinite more and more. Stop. More. Bet you want another hit. Now, don't you? You're an addict, and this is your capitalist dream come true. America's a ghetto. And we're all in clown shoes on the world news, honking our noses loudly at the state of decay, while we keep fawning over ideologues' followers and idealizing crooks and collars and idolizing theology, letting monsters get away with atrocities. America is a ghetto, and it'll always be if we don't dethrone the tyrant king in you. Only focused on you and only your future and only seeing what you go through. America is a ghetto, and the ghettos weren't made into ghettos by the people that live there. Ghettos are orchestrated with prejudice. They don't just appear from thin air. Policies put them there. People put them there. People put people there. For generations, socioeconomic quicksand, not easy to escape, colonizing minds and controlling me and you. What you think and how you vote. Savages misshaped the landscape, created the atmosphere, then poof, a ghetto from thin air. But before, it wasn't there. America is a ghetto, and it's chosen by me and you when I only see me and you only see you. America's a ghetto. But that's not what I want to choose. America's a ghetto, but American, what about you? You can take the ghetto out your neighborhood, but you can't take the ghetto out of you, because America is a ghetto. And the dream didn't take it out of you, not when the dream is all about you. The whole American dream system is a ghetto growing within you, expansive and unwieldy. America's a ghetto, and it's taking over your minds, it's taking over your lives. The American nightmare is a ghetto until you reinvest in the soul landscape surrounding you. Addendum. Now, I could have wrote a poem called America's a Strip Mall, and it would have meant the same thing. And it would have spoken more to white Americans' suburban sensibilities. But you still think that vast wasteland of big box stores is a dream come true. So I had to say America's a ghetto, because late stage capitalism, that drug you crave to prove you are better than the Joneses, it's still in you. So don't forget, right where you are is an American ghetto come true, because America is a ghetto until you pull the bootstrap out of you. Those were selections from Volume 1. And Volume 1 is mostly about this capitalist fever dream in American culture. Volume 2 is a little bit more personal about my story. And I've got it's a poem about culture and the Black minority experience. And the last poem I'll read is called Brown Boy Running. I wanted to write a poem. It would be about a brown boy running. He would have a hood on and pants, baggy, not sagging for fashion, but because he just lost weight. Weight that put his health in danger. Weight that gave him diabetes. Weight that took some freedoms, but he got free of it. So this boy would be running, maybe with a backpack. He'd be smart. Arms filled with books. He'd be late to class, not because he woke late. No, because he helped Mrs. Thomas, that's his neighbor, to the bus stop, because he's a good boy, and that's what good boys do. And so he runs into the corner store, and he goes to grab a snack, and he mistakenly pockets a juice, but he doesn't realize he's also $1 short, and the clerk sees it, and the clerk pulls it. Wait. First, the clerk says, The juice. Your pocket. Careful next time, Richard. Your plaque. And that matters a lot more to some than it does others. And the clerk pulls out $1 from his own pocket. And the brown boy runs straight into adulthood, thoughtfully, with wise words instead of 124 grains to the chest, though he woke late. I wanted to write a country with a poem about a brown boy running, unknown to the world, because he lived. But I haven't figured out how to make it believable yet. Thank you. Thanks for coming on the journey with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take the sip of water first and make sure that you swallow it, because I'm like, yo, I was so not expecting, like, and it's interesting because I have the manuscript and it reads differently on the page when you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the page, it's very like Sonia Sanchez, but when you read it, it's like Damon, Mary Baraka, Octavia Butler Moore. I was just like,
I love that you said Amiri Baraka, because he was one of the OGs when I first started into theater. And I was just looking at Dutchman the other day. Dutchman and I was just like, oh my God, that's so good. So good. So thank you. I appreciate it.
That's actually literally the first thing I heard when you opened your mouth. I literally was like, not only Dutchman, but a very particular performance that Amiri Baraka did on Def Poetry Jam. Like that was literally the first image that I had when you open your, and I was like, wow. And I hope that one day you decide to do like an audio version of this.
I most definitely will. I can't wait. I just need to meet the right people that can help me get down that path.
Yeah, because it's something, and literally all three of y'all that I'm having on today also do spoken word, and for some reason the words, they're the same, but they resonate differently orally, and I'm like,
very much so. Very much so. Yeah, I think that I can recognize that my volume is thick if you're just reading it, but if you can, the way that the poetry reads to me is actually obviously very lyrically, because that's how I've been flowing with it. I think that in some ways, these poems have almost been like prayers that I've been reading and writing over and over and over again over the years. So for me, they feel that I can feel the flow very easy. I think that once people get familiar with the work, they'll also be able to feel their own flow with it as well.
Which, by the way, I just got 2 comments on. One that's asking, when does volume 2 come out?
Well, I was hoping to actually have it out soon, but I deal with some chronic illness and chronic fatigue. I have a connective tissue disorder called HEDS, and it was activated by COVID, and it's really draining, just to be very, very honest. And so I was hoping to have the volume 2 out, because it's honestly mostly set. I'm just kind of organizing it. But I think that volume 2 will likely take a few more months. Hopefully, I'm thinking maybe by February. I don't want to rush myself, because one of the things I talked about in the poem's Perfect Attendance was learning to attune to myself and not rushing too much, because the whole culture that we live in has made us into running men, born to run and die through our lives. And I'm trying to exit that reality. So it's going to be a little bit slower on volume 2, but it will be out within the next few months.
Thank you. And then also we got an amazing comment from Seneca, who will be joining us. He's my guest. Oh my God. Y'all have no idea how excited I am to have him on at 3:00 Eastern time today. Congratulations. He said, great set, innovative, love the usage of the instrument. And I do hope that you're able to watch him at 3 o'clock, because the two of you, like, your synergy is just so on point, which is why, again, like, today's programming was extremely intentional.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, both of you.
So the first question that I have for you is, what is the origin story of Anthems of the American Apocalypse? And why this title?
So the origin, I was sharing with you earlier that for me, all of these works actually came out of kind of like my own personal diary, basically. I've been writing very intentionally over the last 2 decades, mostly to process my world individually for me. But I also recognize that I've always been a performer and I've always been a speaker. I am often the one speaking truth into situations. So these came through me essentially being able to speak truth to myself over the years. And these came out of my journals, my diaries. I've written over the last 20 years, probably about 500-600 poems. And I have collected all of them, but all of them can't obviously come out at once. And I realized as I'm going through them that there obviously were a number of themes that worked well. And so the title comes from, I think that it feels like collectively we're all going through an apocalypse of various sorts. An apocalypse means unveiling, revealing. It also, in pop culture sense, means the end of something. So research shows that average empires last about 250 years. Whose birthday is next year?
Oh, snap, wait.
America's 250th empire birthday is next year. And I think that we all actively see the chaos. I think that through COVID, we are also all going through lots of individual apocalypses. We've all lost people. We've all gained illnesses. We've all done things that were that feel like the end of the world. However, part of the apocalypse is also an end is always another beginning as well. And I think that we all collectively and individually have the power to choose what our beginning's going to look like. And I think that we're in an inward struggle right now. I think that I call it anthems because we are all singing together. We've all created this American culture together, whether mindfully or mindlessly. And I think that we also have the choice to sing into the present moment to create a new anthem. I think right now we've been having lots of anthems of pain and suffering and disunity. But we can choose a new anthem of resurrection, renewal, rebirth. But we have to do that in our individual lives. And so for me, the title is calling people to come together and recognize what's true in their world and what's true in our greater world and see where can we go.
Yeah. So you've already answered so many of my questions already. So,
I'll be talking, you know.
Yes. But oh my God, I wish we could see each other more in person. So Damon, Amiri Baraka, Octavia Butler Moore.
Yes.
Yes. Your writing also engages social commentary, especially, oh my God, I loved Black Boy Running so much.
Thank you.
What are some advantages and challenges of this unique yet long time practice of approaching writing? Like essentially, like, I'm not kidding y'all. I heard Amiri Baraka. I heard Sonia Sanchez. I heard Zorna Hurston. I heard, like, it's son James Baldwin. It's something in particular about Black writers and specifically Black men, because this is the same thing that came up when I spoke with Brothers Keeper last season, the poetry theater ensemble. And I believe it's a question that I have for our other two guests today. And this is why specifically I'm asking this question of Black men. I don't like leaning into the whole toxic masculinity and the patriarchy and all these things, but I also know it influences how we see men. And this is essentially like why Black male writers like called to me so strongly when we're out, especially with the now manosphere and all this other stuff going on, and also too with the things that are causing the current apocalypses. And I had another author on a couple of seasons ago, my bro Jason Montgomery, who wrote a poetry collection about apocalypses, where we have so many people, i.e., our current presidential administration, who is trying to so badly ignite an apocalypse, even though some people are saying he's not, he is. Just how much he's destroying our society. And the manosphere and all these things. And sorry for the rambling, but I'm going to get to the point.
You're right.
And this is something that I talk about with my students, and I tend to teach a lot of like femme and non-binary folk.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this whole, well, like, especially like when I teach August Wilson's Fences and all these things. Mm-hmm. Men are just so toxic. Men are so vile. Men are these things. Men are so isolated. Men don't have friends. Men don't know how to talk. Men don't know how to be vulnerable. But guess what? Black male poets, I've noticed y'all do something completely different. It's like y'all spin it on its head and you're like, no, we are visceral. We are vulnerable. We are not isolated. We are not this weird independent, pull up our bootstraps, the thing that mass media is telling you we are.
Yeah.
And so this question specifically takes on a whole other turn. What are some advantages and challenges of this unique yet long-time practice of approaching writing, especially one that has been taken on by other Black writers throughout time, and it's especially in times of distress?
I think that social commentary is just kind of where I move to. The first person I think of when I read your question, when I hear your question, is James Baldwin. Actually, I think he was also a prophet. I use that word intentionally because I think it's kind of fallen out of style. But the word prophet is to speak about human rights issues, and it doesn't always have to be about the future. But because time is cyclical, sometimes it'd be like that. And so I think that when you are speaking directly about the things, it can be pretty heavy. However, I think that doing it in an artistic way rather than direct social commentary, I think James Baldwin did write some fiction, but I think his direct social commentary is what lived. But I think it's also why he had to move to France. I think that we kill prophets. I think that we kill people that are speakers. I think that MLK is also another voice. I think that Malcolm X is another voice. These people that have written social commentary, I think that to say it in a way that it can live on, but also not put you as in immediate danger is one of the things that's on my mind, especially with the current administration. I think the technical term is wiling out because they're doing some stuff. So the advantages, I feel like, of living in this long train of history is there are people that were directly behind me, like I just mentioned, that are pushing me along. And I think that a lot of people that are in our modern times, a lot of our writers or people are often afraid to mention ourselves along with those people. But we're doing the same work, whether or not it's fame or greatness is added, we're doing the same work. And I think that being in that lineage is empowering. I think that Black male writers, for me, my writing comes from the truth I'm able to tell myself. And so in order to tell myself truth, I have to feel. And so I can't bootstrap. It's not in me anymore. It's been, I'm too tired for it and I'm too healed for it. I'm trying each and every day to pull far away from that mindset. I think that some of the challenges with this engaging in social commentary, like I've already mentioned, is I think when you are speaking artistically, it can be a little bit challenging for people to grasp exactly what you're saying. I think that there's a number of parable-esque things in my book. It's very much like an epic in some ways. I write very epically. There's a lot of epic poetry, so there's a lot of things to have to try to think about. You can look at the story plainly, but many of them are very rich. And so being able to communicate the ideas creatively through the rich text, but also being able to connect with people and not just a very small group of people, I think is probably some of the challenges. I think that one of the other big challenges is that this work is heavy soul work. It's really deep to have to hold the burdens of creation. So one of the things that I connect with is there's a verse of the Bible that says that Jesus was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. I think that a lot of people that are in my vein of writing are very familiar with sorrow and grief. And I think that in part, one of the things that has prevented society from moving forward is other people's ability to access, navigate, and integrate their sorrows and grief. Because for me, this work is really about my own integration. I used to be a teacher as well. I was a high school teacher for a while. And part of this integration is teaching myself how to be a healthier human, but also sharing with the world, here's some of the things that I'm saying. I'm not sure if that also rambling answered your question.
It does, so much so to where, excuse me, I have to insert a new question, sir,
Okay.
and I hope it's okay that I do this. So, because I've known you through several chapters of your life, how if it has, your writing shifted since working as an educator, working as a counselor, and being a father? So you're holding like very intimate, vulnerable spaces for other people.
Yeah.
How would you say your writing has evolved through these major shifts in your life when you've had to hold spaces for other people?
Yeah. I think that one of the things that I've kind of always done was be very intentional to hold space, for others. Long before I ever became a psychologist, before I got licensed, before I was a teacher, before any of that stuff, I was always trying to help people. People used to come to me for advice and things like that. And when I was a kid, and I remember one of the funniest things was giving friends in high school and middle school dating advice, even though I wasn't dating. And they're like, I don't know, I've never dated anybody, but maybe try this. and usually the advice was usually pretty good. I don't think I ever got any bad feedback. And so for me, I've always been intentional to hold space and with people in various ways. I think that's why I was a successful teacher. A number of the people that I still interact with on social media are actually former students from the last decade and a half or so. So for me, it's very encouraging to be connected with somebody that's nearly 30 that still valued the place I held in their world, if that makes sense. And so I think that holding space has always been part of my story. And I think that my writing has shifted and that I have actually learned to hold more and more space for me. I think that there probably is a lot of people that were grown to be the givers, if you remember that novel, of their world. They were holding so much for other people. And so in part of holding everybody else's stuff, sometimes we didn't care for ourselves. But all the most important form of love is self-love, because that's where all love stems from. And so over the years, it's actually been kind of an opposite thing. I know a lot of people say they gotta learn to love other people. I think for me and a number of people, it's kind of like I was taught to love others well, and through my writing, I have learned more and more how to love myself. And so, I think the transformation, um, in part, is more and more self acceptance and allowing me to be as I am. And so, one small thing with that is, for a long time, I tried to stay away from some of the stylings in my writing that might be a little bit more tricky, but they just flow out of me. And I know I write some tricky stuff in there sometimes, and some different wordplay and interesting allusions. And I try to be more straight laced. A lot of my early poetry was a lot more locked or formed. Uh, and so I learned to free myself, as I had always kind of allowed others to be free. I know that that might be a different kind of answer than you were expecting.
No, it makes complete sense, and it leads really nicely into my second to last question.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to having our guests on Black Writers Read, we ask each of them why they write. Here's an excerpt, and I want to actually like publish somewhere, because you wrote like an entire manifesto responding to this question. And this is definitely an excerpt.
Yeah.
I often feel that I must speak, especially on human rights issues, spirituality, and issues of culture that others may refuse to speak on, or at least not in the way that I do. What I do is prophecy most often. That's the easiest but most uncomfortable way to say it. Prophecy, calling it that, is unusual in the modern day, where we separate spirit from our material world, our materialistic worldview. But prophecy is what most fits as I describe what I do. I share divinely inspired messages. There is a deep, moving energy in me to write and speak as I do. We mirror each other and reflect each other. Our ways resemble and inspire other ways. We are because others were, and we are so that others will be. When we view all life and time as mirrors for each other, we can learn a lot about ourselves and how we understand our own experience in the world around us. I write to understand. I write to share. I write to make sense. I write to open you to magic. I write to welcome in those longing to breathe free. I write to invite you to love of self, of others, of all. I write to invite all to the depths of our shared and interdependent inner biospiritual world. A world connecting and weaving together insight from the past and wisdom from the future. I call all future descendants to open to your highest self and channel all of you down now into the depths of your spirit. I write to call all current ancestors to open to your lowest self and channel all of you up into the depths of your skin. Why is prophecy an important part of bearing witness? And how can other artists integrate this practice into their own work?
I think prophecy, for me, to also say what it is again, is often we have this energetic longing, this feeling, maybe you might call it the spirit, God. And it's usually about things that you feel should be different, or that you are prompted to speak on. And so there's a lot to speak on in the current day, where things don't feel good in a number of ways. A lot of people are being mistreated. So a lot of prophecy, if you look at it historically, it might be divine, but it's most often about human rights issues. People ain't feeling too good, and we have to have some divine source tell us, hey guys. I think that presence, that divinity, that source is always there, and we can access the presence to ourselves and others. And I think that you integrate that by choosing to open yourself to the outer world that is challenging, other people's experiences outside of yours, your own experiences that are challenging. Because the real truth is that unless you choose to see yourself, really see yourself, you will never be able to see other people, really, truly see them. And when you truly see something, it's impossible to not see its beauty, its grandeur, its amazingness. And it's impossible not to love it if you truly see it. So I think that this is a call to open people up to themselves. And so then they can open up to others and they can reconnect to themselves and the world. I think that we're bearing witness on what we see around us. There's a long list of atrocities, both personally and collective. And I think it's important that we speak when we feel urged to. And that doesn't necessarily mean all the time, and doesn't necessarily have to be in big ways like I'm speaking now on a big show. It could be just saying the thing that you need to say to your friend, your brother, your neighbor, your sister, your coworker, just choosing to be where you need to be. And so I think that we integrate it by choosing presence and choosing to be more attuned to ourselves and others around us.
So on that note, Damon, what is next for you, and how can a Black Writers Read community support you on this journey?
Thank you so much. I'll be putting out Anthems of the American Apocalypse Volume 2 and Volume 3 as well. Volume 2 is going to be much more about the Black and minority cultural experiences. And Volume 3 is a little bit more hopeful about what comes next. How do we move through apocalypse, and what can we do to heal, grow, and turn to our highest selves? And then eventually I'm probably going to drop some psychology books, because that's kind of my day job, and I like helping people heal.
Yeah, because I was going to say, as you were listing the volumes for Anthems of the American Apocalypse, I was like, Damon's an educator. Damon likes to hold space for people. Is there going to be like a workbook or a journal or journaling prompts that come with? Because I'm like imagining this as something.
You're talking about with these books?
Yes.
You know, I've considered it. I think that there is definitely space for it. I would love to engage schools and things like that eventually. But right now, honestly, one of the most important things for me, I got to rest. Chronic illness is kind of kicking my butt. I'm not going to lie. I've been so tired lately. And so while I have the volumes in my mind, and actually, like I said, the poetry is all done for the volumes. I've just got to organize them in the way that I'd like. And I've got a lot of the writing done for even the psychological work. I need to pace myself. And so I'm very intentional to rest right now. So those volumes are coming, but it's going to be much more attuned to my cycle. I was going to try to push one out this month, and I could have done it, but it wouldn't have felt right. It was not the timing for me. So rest and a couple volumes of poetry.
Yeah, and thank you so much for commenting on the capitalist cycle. It's like things need to come out when it needs to, and intention, rather than it just needs to come out. Because if you really want it to live on and really want it to sustain and hit people in the way that it needs to come out when it is ready.
Yeah.
So, Damon, Amiri, Baraka, Octavia, Butler Moore, thank you so much for being on Black Writers Read today. And also, it was so great catching up with you. I need to definitely make it a point to chat with you more often, which, by the way, folks, like the Facebook threads, and like Damon and I have had some really deep conversations over social media. So what you see today has always been him. Like this whole deep, reflected, since I've known him since like the late 2000s, this has been Damon. Like,
yeah. And I really, once again, I love the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for having me on. I think you're doing really, really good stuff.
Thank you. And I have to keep, and especially as I'm like struggling through like chronic illness, my asthma, and other things that are still getting diagnosed, which, by the way, I think, and my therapist says, it's literally attributed to I've been pushing myself so hard, and I've been working so much, and I'm working a lot now, thanks to capitalism and thanks to like having
Yeah.
my family and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I need to learn how there's a difference between resting and collapsing, because I've
Yes.
been collapsing and not intentionally resting.
Yeah. And I think there's a point too. I wanted to make a point very early before we got on. You talked about isolation. I think as a psychologist, I always tell my clients it's important to make a distinction between isolation and solitude. Isolation is never healthy because you're isolating even from yourself. You might be, zoned out on social media, scrolling or whatever, but you're also isolated from your inner self. And so solitude is a different category of I'm not connecting with other people in order to connect with myself, but it takes intentional work. One of the things that I've been doing lately, and I'm usually pretty prolific on Facebook, I haven't been on there very much. And in fact, I'm probably going to be taking a break because I'm tired and I need to rest. Even though it's, the creative in me is like, come on, let's post. But I think that it's so important that we listen to the rhythms of our body. And so the solitude versus isolation, I think we got to choose to rest for ourselves and pay attention to ourselves. Because a lot of times when we're out in the public sector, we're actually connecting to others at the cost of ourselves. So then there's another way that we're draining ourselves. So if we don't even actually reconnect when we go back into our own little closets, then we're doubly drained, even though we got some sleep.
See, here's Damon getting in billable hours.
I spit out fire.
Yeah! Yes!
I'm trying to be like the greatest. Dial on.
Yes! See, man, I'm so glad that nothing has changed.
Nothing and everything.
Yeah.
It's this will be the last thing I say. It's really great to feel becoming more yourself.
Yes.
And if you're not on that journey, you don't waste your time. It might be painful to move towards yourself. It might lose some relationships or connections, but you and your journey matters. You feeling good in your world matters. So it's never too late.
You dropping so many quotables today. I'm like, these little like Peabody worthy.
Thank you.
Yes. So Damon, it was so great having you on today. Like this was like I knew this was gonna be a great conversation, but this was like beyond expectation.
I think we could have probably talked for another couple hours.
I think we probably could, but then there's this. I have others programmed. You have children coming home, and yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was great. This was really great.
Yes, Damon, thank you so much. And I am going to wrap up. I'm going to take you off, and then we'll touch base after, like quickly,
Sure.
after I end the broadcast. Yes. So thank you all for joining me for episode 4 of season 6 of Black Writers Read. Today being the marathon for National Black Poetry Month, I'm knocking out 3 episodes today. So I'll be back later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Time with Seneca-elect Chizoba Lofton, and at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Tariq Rashad, continuing today's special broadcast celebrating National Black Poetry Month. Also, because I would have done 5 this week, because I did one for my birthday on Tuesday, and I'm doing one on Sunday. On Sunday, October 19th at 2 p.m., I believe that's the time, Eastern Time, I will be here again with poet Dorcia Smith Silva. Support Black Writers Read by subscribing to my YouTube channel, where many of you are joining us from today, or the audio podcast, which is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, and Amazon Music. While you are on that preferred platform to receive your podcast catalog, please subscribe to Black Writers Read and also drop a review, as you are helping the algorithms and helping other people to find us. Also, if you are so moved, please support us on Patreon. This is an independent media on all accords. This is self-funded and independently produced. by supporting us in these various ways. You help to sustain this award-winning platform amidst all of the noise in the world. Visit blackwritersread.com to learn more about the podcast. Thank you all for joining me this morning, going into this afternoon in terms of the Eastern Standard Time zone, and more importantly, for ensuring that Black authors continue to matter. I will see you later this afternoon.